What's up, my 1111 YouTube friends? Working on Project Funmobile here. The bumpers are looking sweet. Spent the last couple weeks on and off on them. Cut so many pieces. Thank God I got an iron worker, because I cut so many pieces, 30 plus in each bumper. I didn't want to have to figure out all the angles and stuff to try and bend it all up. To me, it was just easier to keep shearing pieces and keep sticking them in place, tacking them, figuring out the next piece, tacking in place. And then after I got them all done, I totally finish weld them on the inside. On the inside, I welded everywhere on the inside. And then I welded the outsides. And then Trenton, he helped me out big time on this one. He ground for hours on end to knock all the weld down. Then I went back and did all the finish sanding on them and stuff. And they're close. I'm at the point now where I was trying to make a decision of which direction do I head with them now. I got three options what I've been thinking of here. First option was really my main plan all along, was to just have them sandblasted and powder coated. Do like a matte black on them. And here's a look at the rear one. All kinds of pieces going on here. I kind of stepped it in here and then came up at an angle and then stepped on the top, and it fits pretty close. I'm happy with it. I mean, I got to do some adjusting to the fender flares. This one isn't even on all the way, but I think I got them trimmed about where I like them. But I'm liking it. It's attached really, really well. Good toe point here now. I set all this in back here and multiple angles and stuff, and I'm liking the way it looked. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the front bumper, I can't take credit for the design on the front bumper. A guy in Dirt Perfect, I copied his bumper. It's very, very close to his. Rear one, I envisioned that one. That one came right out of my thinker. After getting the front one done, I had a vision. And I came back here and Trenton ripped the plastic bumper off and I went to town, and I could take 100% credit for the design of this one. This one I came up with. And I even returned it down, you know, tipped it down in here and all kinds of fun stuff. But like I said, I welded them inside and out, ground them on the outside. But getting back to the finish, like I said, my original thought, and I was almost 100% set on this idea, was I was gonna have them sandblasted and powder coated a matte black. I thought it looked nice on there. I think that's what we're gonna do to the fender flares too, is kind of go to a matte black finish on the fender flares. And I thought it all tie together good. But then I got thinking this part of it. It's gonna be about $400 minimum, maybe 500. And I got thinking, well, we did the Raptor liner on the bottom of the doors. I had just enough left, possibly have one mix left here that's just maybe enough to get a nice coat on the front and rear bumper, but I don't want to come up short, so I'm kind of tossing that idea too. But I have to put some sort of a finish on it before that even goes on. So I think what I'm going to try first is I'm just going to spray them a black epoxy. Years and years and years ago, when I built one of my off-road trucks, I sprayed the entire chassis. It was a full tube frame off-road rock bouncer, and I painted the whole thing with black epoxy. It held up for, I had that truck 10 plus years before I sold it, and that finish held up just fine. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand them, wipe them down good, and I'm gonna spray them black epoxy first and set them on there and see how they look. If I don't like it, then I can always go over it with the Raptor liner, which is black, and I already have a black base, so I don't have to worry about coverage then. But first I'm just gonna try the black epoxy on them and see how it looks. So that's where I'm at on that. I've had some comments. I've been posting some riding videos lately too. And I just had a whole bunch of them kind of stored up, and I just started just kicking them out there now, and hope you guys are enjoying the riding videos. But I've had some people commenting, and I've even had some people messaging me on Facebook, hey, what's going on with Freedom? You've talked nothing about it. Don't see it being built at all. Yeah, when we went into that period of where I did 3 engines in like a week period, yeah, that burnt me and Trenton out pretty rapidly. We did thing 1, thing 2. So not only did we pretty them up, but we had to rebuild both engines in them, and then Hooker, we had to do the engine in that one too. It was nonstop for a couple week period of just wrenching, and it kind of burnt us out because we didn't feel like we were actually doing any kind of riding at all. And I actually put a few up for sale because I was just like, you know what, I have too many. I'm selling some because, you know, one sled is enough of a headache. Now compound that by 14, and to try and keep 14 sleds running, I like all my sleds to where you can go over to any snowmobile and pull the cord and go ride it. I don't like them to be sitting there with, well, that one needs slides, well, that one needs a belt, well, that one needs carbs cleaned. I don't like that. So every one of them at all times, they're pull and go. They're always ready to go. And it's a lot to try and keep all that going. So I sold 2 sleds. Trenton sold a sled. And after doing that, it kind of helped a little bit. It took some of the pressure off. But anyways, I wasn't working on Freedom at all because of all the work I was doing on all the other sleds, just trying to keep them going for the winter. And so I thought, well, Freedom's going to turn into a spring-summer project now. And just last week, I was out here working, and I was just actually sweeping up. And I wasn't even sure I was going to put this in a video because it's such a stupid mistake on my behalf. But what the heck, admit to your mistakes and move on. Here's the aftermath. All this was in that, which was hanging on the ceiling and the wall. And after 6-7 years of putting one more board, I'm gonna slide one more board in there, but I haven't taken any boards out. Thousands of pounds of wood in here. And yeah, here's what happened. I was standing just a couple feet down the shop when this came down, and it scared the living hell right out of me. Pulled the wall tin down. I haven't even gotten myself to take this thing out of here yet because I could obviously see there was some damage to it right off the bat. But I tell you what, the powder coating held up quite well because that frame went right down that thing. And I don't see hardly a scratch in that powder coating. That stuff is like freaking, the coating is unreal on it. So, but I could see my tunnel extension back here isn't looking so hot. Up in here isn't looking so hot. But like I said, this was over a week ago, and I still haven't pulled it out of there to really analyze it. But it's kind of a saving grace that it was in there because the one side of the shelf actually got stuck on the top of the chassis up there, and the other side came down and actually landed right on the car. And then anything that was on the top of the shelf spilled out. Them antlers, I haven't even touched them yet. Them antlers were sitting there when all this happened. So that inside that rack held most of it because it was in the pipe. But I can't believe it fell on the car without completely just going right through the fiberglass body. How that didn't happen, because one of these pegs right here, one of these landed right onto the trunk lid. And I didn't even want to pull the car cover back. I still have to finish the body work on that car anyways. It hasn't been painted yet. The chassis is all done on it. I just have to do the body. But I actually pulled the car cover back after we got it out of there, and I was like, wow, a nick in the fiberglass. You know, if that car was painted, it would have destroyed everything if that car was painted. But being it isn't painted, there was a nick into the fiberglass. I'm like, how is that even possible that that leg came down and crashed right on top of the car? And that's the only one leg hit the trunk and nothing else hit the grill shell, the radiator, none of that stuff. I can't believe it. So I got really lucky, but like I said, I wasn't even going to show this because I felt so stupid that this happened. But it feels good to talk about it, get it off my chest. Now it's out in the open. There's no more secrets around here. But I am going to pull that out. And the only reason it got put in there, it was out here on sawhorses to be worked on. I put it in there when we were cleaning up for our birthday party in here. We stuck it underneath there to get it out of the way. And yeah, well, what do you do? We move on. Hopefully the damage isn't too severe. Whatever it is, I'm going to fix it. I'm just a little bit bummed out about that. I made a pretty cool tunnel extension in the back that got all powder coated, so I'm a little bit bummed about that part, but I'll move on. But I'm gonna get these bumpers pulled off, get them cleaned up good. Next video, you'll see what I actually ended up doing. We'll see, oh, hey, what do we got here? This is an Amazon buy. Who would ever know that you could find a 5 on 4.5 to a 4 on 4.5 wheel adapter. This wheel adapter is going to end up on there for a certain reason. You'll have to stay tuned for why this 5 on 4.5 is going to a 4 on 4.5 bolt pattern. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for the views. Appreciate it.